Hello, everybody. Dr. Plague, and we are going to be here watching the expansion reveal for World of Warcraft. We are going to basically be doing my live reaction, though it's going to be recorded, for the newest expansion that is going to be coming out. It is actually set to be starting in about a few minutes here, um, but I just kind of quickly want to go over what I think possibly. Um, we there has been some leaks here and there about the expansion as a whole. One being that it's actually going to be Dragonflight. There's a ton of different leaks about that, but we don't know if it's just the reveal of the expansion or if they're actually going to be going more in depth to what the actual expansion is actually going to entail and what is actually going to be actually a part of this expansion. I have high hopes that they will go into detail about what the expansion will entail. I hope it's not just here's what the expansion is without any underlying things to kind of give more hype and center stuff around that sort of thing. Um, there was a leak, I will say, because we don't know. We all leaks must be taken with a grain of salt, really. At that point, but the biggest thing is that there was a leak that was on MMO Champion. I will link a video to what was about that and what was centered around that because Bellular did a really amazing video about it. I will link it down below in the annotations or the info. Um, but essentially, uh, if that leak is true, it is going to be a very ambitious and risky take on the game as a whole. Like no level cap, micro classes. Um, at one point, I think that they had a secondary amendment to it where they talked about a new race where dragons, so essentially like the Worgans, but you could be any class at that point, so it'd be kind of like a neutral faction type thing. So you would have your dragonkin looking form, and then you would have your human form. That would be really cool. That would be really interesting to see. But it's kind of one of those things where not really 100% certain of what's actually going to happen. I'm really looking forward to the expansion reveal. I have hopes. Not getting hyped up yet. Not exactly just yet, but this could change all that. So we're gonna set up to actually do that reveal here in just a little bit. I'm watching the timer. We got about 60 seconds left, so we'll hop into the reveal when it comes up. Okay, we are in the final 30 seconds. Well, 20 seconds now. But I'm extremely looking forward to this. I'm probably going to turn it down a little bit to about here. I think this is a good. There we go. So here we go. Oh man. The cinematics that they have made and they do make is freaking amazing. Okay.
For Azeroth!
Okay, come on. What do we got?
Hi everyone, I'm John Haidt, General Manager for Warcraft, and with me today are my friends Ian Hazacostas, who is the Game Director for World of Warcraft, and Holly Longdale, who leads up the production team for WoW Classic.
Please don't tell me this is just
Really
going to be a
appreciate
WoW
you
Classic
tuning
thing,
in.
because this is going to be
I know
annoying.
We're really excited to be able to give you updates on what's happening in World of Warcraft. But first, I want to thank our community for all the feedback you've given us this year, and especially our community council. You've helped shape and influence the updates that we've done recently and what you're going to see in the upcoming year.
I mean, really, for Shadowlands in particular, the story of the last 9 months or so of this expansion is all about the community, and it's shaped by what we've been hearing from them, and us realizing as a team that we just collectively needed to do a better job of making sure the community felt heard, and so that led us to the changes we made in 9.15, but also really re-examining some of the assumptions and foundations of World of Warcraft about things like character investment and mains versus alts, or how catch-up should work, or the appropriate role of friction in our systems.
Okay.
And I think 9.15
So-
represented a step in the direction of letting players have more freedom to play World of Warcraft the way they want to play it. And
Okay.
we really built our Eternity's End
Yep.
content update from the ground up around those principles.
What are some of the things that the community said that influenced your decisions for Eternity's End?
Things like the method and pacing of acquisition of the Covenant Legendary item, tons of tuning, and I think every step of the way, we were listening to make sure that we were carrying forward those lessons learned in the course of 9.15 into Eternity's End and beyond.
So WoW Classic came about because of the community.
Yeah, they continue to help guide and support us as Classic evolves.
World of Warcraft has always been about the world and the players that inhabit it, and we are in a lot of ways curators and caretakers of that journey and of that
So-
experience. And so once this
Okay.
classic community
I mean-
formed and grew, we had to listen to them.
I mean, hopefully
It's
they're going to
this
be doing
tide
that.
of listening to the community and paying attention to what is a good experience for our players now.
You know.
And where we really saw a sea change in this idea is with our Season of Mastery round,
Okay.
which is a Season of Fresh Start Classic. And initially we were talking about it like it was going to be like a fresh start. Let's try this experiment in a season. It'll be about a year long. And then when the community found out about it, we started seeing this upswell.
Yeah, the team just took that idea and ran with it and
Yes.
turned, what started out as a small community project into this Soul of Iron system that became a centerpiece of Season of Mastery and a whole new opt-in hardcore mode that we've seen communities built around.
Yeah.
Lots of, thrilling victory and painful defeat.
5 hours. I made it 5 hours.
Yeah. And
Okay,
it
so-
continues. Like Burning Crusade Classic, we wanted to balance the Paladin seals between Horde and Alliance, so we made an addition there. We wouldn't have gotten there without the community's input.
So, influence the community. You've got another update and pretty significant controversial change for this.
Yeah, cross-faction play coming in 9.25, which is on our public test realm now.
So that's awesome.
Cross
That-
faction. You're breaking with a 17-year tradition.
Yeah, it's something. It was not an easily made decision by any means.
That's-
and I think
that's
this is
awesome.
Another one of those areas where really
Because then you could
we
be like
tried to
play with
take
your
apart
Alliance
community
or Horde
feedback and
buddies.
requests and ask
and
ourselves
and
as a
stuff.
team whether there's a way to
That's awesome.
accommodate
That's
such an
absolutely
earnestly
awesome.
held
So, I
desire
mean-
and still feel like we're being true to the roots of the game. I think players desire to play with their friends who might prefer a different faction, or to play with the faction that they more closely identify with, even though their raid group is elsewhere.
It's really important for me. I play a lot of alts, and I love absorbing the story for each race, and having that ability to play with all of my friends across factions is fantastic.
At the end of the day, the battle cry is for the Horde. It's not against the Alliance. It's not death to the Alliance. It's about pride in one's faction. And I think there's a way to preserve that and even strengthen that while giving players the ability to make the same choice we've seen the greatest heroes make time and time again.
I can't wait to do this. I'm seeing a lot of my friends that
Okay,
I
yep.
never knew had a max level character in the other faction suddenly come out of the woodwork.
And then, with these cross-faction groups, many of them are going to be diving into something new that we're doing to kind of cap off Shadowlands, a Season 4. Kind of a remix, a bit of a greatest hits, revisiting all of our raid zones across the expansion, bringing in some
So that's awesome.
familiar older favorites into the Mythic Plus.
That is really
rotation.
good.
And we recognize
I
this is
feel
kind of a closing chapter, a
Making
little bit of a
older
send-off to
content
Shadowlands, as
relevant,
everyone gets
like
ready for what happens
content
next, what will come
within
next.
the
We want to,
expansion,
fund
all
challenge everyone
relevant.
to sink their teeth into.
Really cool stuff for modern WoW players. I'm super excited about the gear upgrades that you're going to give me and the chance to go back and play some of those awesome raids.
There's a lot to explore. Very exciting.
For our next adventure in World of Warcraft, we're going to go back to Azeroth. We're going to a space with high fantasy. I mean, our fans of Azeroth
Okay.
for a long time. This has been kind of the foundation of much of the lore of WoW. So without further ado, let's watch the cinematic.
Ooh, here we go. Here we go. Okay.
The world has been sundered.
Oh my gosh.
It cries out in pain.
That's beautiful.
We must go to its aid. We entrust our ancestral home to you, the Watchers.
Wow.
Let the land slumber, hidden even from our own eyes. You will feel our return in the waking of the land. Then
They're titans.
you must light the beacon of Tearhold, lest the path home be lost to us forever.
I mean, that's Alexstrasza. That's freaking Alexstrasza right there. What's going on? Oh, that was a cool transition. Okay. Oh, wow. The only one that seemingly survived. Oh. Okay. So land that time. I mean, this is so cool. I mean, already you kind of get a feeling for. I mean, you get a feeling for this character. That's awesome. I always loved the dragons. It was so cool. Okay, I'm kind of feeling a little bit of a hype right now.
World is healing. But her fate is yet uncertain.
Oh man, that is so gorgeous.
Together, we shall be Azeroth's protectors once again. Here, the new age of dragons shall begin.
Okay, so that was right. That was one thing. That was right. Okay. Okay, so what else? So what do we got?
Dragons!
Dragons.
This is so cool.
No one saw it coming.
No
I
one
know.
saw it coming. Carefully kept secret. But seriously, I mean,
That was a jab at the
what did we
leaks.
just see there?
The awakening of the Dragon Isles, the return of dragons, the dawn of a new age. Right, we've seen Rathian searching for his father's legacy, searching for the Dragon Isles. There's a reason why he hasn't been able to find them until now.
The beacon going off, is that summoning the dragons?
It is removing the concealment that had hidden the Dragon Isles from the world, but also beckoning the dragons back urgently in a time of need.
I assume pretty good variety of locales within the Dragon Isles. It's
Yes, the Dragon Isles, as kind of standard for WoW expansion, consist of
Okay.
5 zones, 4 standard leveling zones, and a new starter zone that we'll get to
So
in a
there-
second.
Can you talk a little bit about how the team found ways to thread the dragon aspects throughout the environments?
The Dragon Isles are a place that is lush and primal, bursting with elemental energy. As Azeroth herself reawakens, those primal forces are expressed throughout the environment, whether it's magma activity, volcanic activity,
Okay.
whether it's the icy wastes of the Azure Span, and each one of those has a connection to a dragonflight that we've seen before. And it's going to be an amazing place for players to arrive at and explore.
all right. You know I'm going to ask.
Yes, okay, so
Can I be a dragon?
let's start getting into some features here and what Dragonflight means for you as well as just a place. So first off, yes, we have an all-new playable race,
Oh!
the Drakthir race.
Yeah!
This is a Draconid draconic race, but dragons in Warcraft have the ability to take on a humanoid form.
What classes can they be?
They have unique abilities as literally a dragon. That doesn't quite fit any of our existing classes. And so what we're doing is this is not just a new race, but it's also a new class. You know, adding a new race to World of Warcraft, and not just an allied race, is something that we don't do lightly, but telling this expansion, this story, so focused around dragons, felt like the perfect time for it. So if you are a Drakthir, you will be the Evoker class. Drakthir can only be Evokers, Evokers can only be Drakthir. And the reason why only a Drakthir could be an Evoker is that an Evoker is really
That is
combining
interesting.
the ability to call upon the magic of the different aspects with the unique physical gifts that a Drakthir has. The ability to actually take flight and do an Onyxia-style strafing deep breath over the battlefield, land on the other side, knock everyone back with a wing buffet, and then unleash your magical abilities.
Yes, please.
The Evoker has 2 specializations. They're a hybrid of either ranged DPS or healer. And they wear male armor. We figured, you know, with the new hero classes...
That is
about over the
cool, a healer
years,
that
we
wields
have
mail.
enough melee, we don't need more of those. And also, probably don't need any more leather wearers.
The raid leaders are going to love you for that.
Exactly. This is definitely a hero class. And so that means that, you know, like the Death Knights before them or Demon Hunters, they will be starting level 58. And then they're going to have a new starter zone. So they're going to have a slightly different journey
That
into
is
the Dragon Isles as opposed to the rest of
not
us that are
exactly what I
sailing
was
there
thinking,
from other
but-
parts of Azeroth.
Can you talk a little bit about the customizations? Like what is going to be able to identify my Drakthir character?
Basically anything and everything. You know, skin color, hair color, jewelry, tattoos, other adornments. You can make this character the expression of your identity in Azeroth.
New zone, new class,
Yep.
new race. Well, tell us about some of the system updates or features.
Of course, the new expansion brings with it, you know, new systems, new features. I think in recent expansions, one of the things we've tended to do is really have these deep features that were closely tied to a specific expansion that would then get left behind as we moved on. And we've heard loud and clear from players that, you know, it's kind of a
Okay.
bummer to start off every new expansion by leaving a large part of your character behind, by leaving a large part of your progression behind.
Exactly.
So this time around, what we're doing is really pouring all of our energy into permanent revamps, overhauls, and improvements to World of Warcraft's core systems. Things like our progression systems, in this case, our talent system is something that we want to completely revamp. We want to take a look at our UI. We want to take a look at professions.
So with the talent revamp and the arrival of Classic, did you learn anything about how our talents work?
I think seeing a new generation of players play with those talents and work through those talent trees really underscored some of the things that, frankly, we lost when we shifted to the Mists of Pandaria style talents and beyond.
Wait.
A big piece of that was some of just the granularity, the feeling of getting a level and spending a point to customize your character to make yourself a bit better in some specific way.
Wait.
But also, that sense of hybridity that you could have. That's
Wait.
something that we've largely lost. And so the new talent system avoids directly pitting
Wait.
power throughput choices directly against those sort of utility hybrid choices, because we know that there's always a right outcome there. And we also understand that there's a lot of strength in the flexibility of the modern talent system to let players customize their talents
Okay.
for particular encounters.
We're getting
or for
talent trees
dungeons
back.
versus PvP, and we don't want to lose any of that.
So John, UI?
Oh my God. Yes, I got this 30-inch monitor trying to keep track of where I am on the map, all my buffs, and over here, what's going on in chat. It has literally made my eyes go like this. So,
And you're not alone in that. We've made a lot of incremental changes and additions over the years, but really this is a revamp, this is an overhaul. And so we're excited to really modernize the look and feel while staying true to the origins of World of Warcraft. Now at the same time, we're not looking to take away the sort of power user customization there. Add-ons are still there if you want them, but we want a much better default out-of-the-box experience for all players, new and old alike.
and can I reduce elements, remove elements if I want to explore the world?
Oh, that
and
is
see
cool.
the beauty of Azeroth.
You
When
can.
it comes to specific elements, as much as possible, we want to let players choose what to show and what to hide so that
You
they
can
control it
move
themselves.
the AI around now.
I have a critical question about this.
Go on.
Can I wear a chef's hat?
Yeah, I knew it.
Our approach to professions in Dragonflight is really all about delivering on fantasy and
Okay.
identity as a crafter. And so if you want to be a serious blacksmith, if you want to be a great leather worker, we want to deliver
They
the
kinda
ability
got this
to
idea from
invest
14.
time and energy into that.
They kinda got that
Become a
idea from
master
14.
crafter. Be able to make items that are in demand, interact with the community. One of the big pieces that we want to do to support that is a new work order system to have a bit more convenience than just spamming trade chat all day. But if you are someone, you're not yourself a blacksmith, but you have a bunch of mats and you want them forged into a great sword, you can put that work order up, list your mats, offer a commission, and a skilled blacksmith can come along.
That
and make you
is
the weapon of your
cool.
dreams.
That is
Think about
kind of
that one
cool.
Thing, though. You can be a Drakthir, go to Dragon Isles. Can I have a dragon?
What's the fantasy of dragons if not soaring over the lands? And so we're really excited to introduce a feature that we're calling dragon riding. It's dynamic with everything from momentum to dive bombs, the ability to just sort of build that speed up and feel the world rushing past you in a way that should
That
be much
is-
more exciting than traditional flight that we've made available in the past, but that's also available for players through a customizable dragon mount right from the start.
So this is a skill you
Wow.
learn over time, right, to become an awesome dragon rider?
Yes, you'll be able to sort of upgrade aspects of your flight, but you will have this new form of flight from the start. And the Dragon Companion that you have is, of course, very thoroughly customizable, which is a new thing for us for mounts. This is not just a
Customizable
generic
mount?
dragon that
Excuse
everyone
me?
has, but a drake that is yours. What do you want its scales to look like, horns, the shape of its head, other attachments, armor pieces, and more. Take your pick.
This is so cool.
So yes, the Dragonflight expansion is going to see players leveling to 70, going to the all-new continent of the Dragon Isles.
'Cause we are
Consists
leveling,
of
it's
5
not-
zones,
Okay.
4 standard leveling zones, and a new starter zone for our Drakthir class, as well as a range of systems revamps.
Okay.
Such as a new talent system,
Okay.
an overhaul and update to our UI, and an entirely fresh look at professions with more depth than ever before.
So I'm not getting a new
Also
profession.
getting around the Dragon Isles is going to come in the form of dragon riding, which lets you customize and upgrade your own
That's
mount
cool.
so that you can fly in a sense from the start. And of course, as with any new expansion, we have a new set of dungeons, a raid, and much more to come.
We also have an alpha that will be starting up in the future.
Check out our website for more information and keep an eye out for those opt-in signups if you want to help us test out Dragonflight and give us even more
I
feedback
mean,
to make it
I
better.
would be
We do
willing to
have a
test
deep
out
dive
that.
that follows this, so please stay around. Classic players, we haven't forgotten about you. You could probably guess where we're going to go next. One of the all-time favorite expansions for World of Warcraft. Let's watch the cinematic.
I don't care. I don't care. The original Wrath of the Lich King expansion and the cinematic. Oh, chills. Chills. Literal chills. Like, absolute chills. Woo. Woo. I would possibly.
My son,
Oh man,
the day you were born,
the very forests of Lordaeron whispered the name. This was the first expansion that I saw, like, beginning of, and oh man, this holds a special place in my heart.
when my days have come to an end, you shall be king.
Woohoo! Oh, that's coming out this year. They're bringing it out this year. Oh, snap. Snap.
Incredible, isn't it? Every time I see the cinematic, I get chills. No pun intended, I get chills. As you saw, Wrath of the Lich King Classic is coming this year. It brings back so many memories. When you see that cinematic, what do you remember from Wrath of the Lich King?
Anytime you want to talk about undead frozen dragons, how can you not go back to Sindragosa as the source? That was the first expansion I played with my youngest son. So I can remember on that platform, black goo and chunks of ice falling off and having to repeat that battle with the Lich King. But when we finally downed him, it was such an incredible moment. He jumped up out of his room and I jumped up out of my office. We're like, yeah, did it. So it's a very lasting tale for me.
So as you know, with
Man,
this expansion,
that-
we will, in pre-patch, be able to play the Death Knight. They will start at level 55. You don't have to have a high-level character to make a Death Knight, so everyone will be able to make one.
We're excited to give players some time before Wrath officially launches to get geared up and ready to jump in to Northrend with everybody else.
And there are so many zones and areas to explore in Northrend, and I'll have to talk about some of our favorites. So for me, Grizzly Hills has a very special place in my heart. The music was some of the best I've experienced in World of Warcraft.
I still make my way all the way up to Storm Peaks to try and find the time-lost Protodrake and have yet to get it.
I've got to say Dragonblight. The wide open nature of the zone, Wormrest Temple in the center of it, it's an unforgettable expansion as both a developer and a player and kind of making that transition from one to the other.
Now let's talk about some changes.
So if you get the
one
if you get the
thing
time
we
lost,
looked at
I wonder if they're
is
doing
Dungeon
that.
Finder,
If you get
and
the
it
time lost
feels
Proto
like
Drake
how we
in
envision
Classic, you can have it
Dungeon
in
Finder
retail.
is not a good fit for our community.
That was kind of the first step that may have eroded some of that social fabric. Now, as people have gone through the experience of going back to vanilla, rebuilding those groups, relying on each other, not wanting necessarily a random participant just to show up and then leave.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
But today, you can do that in Shadowlands. You'll be able to do that in Dragonflight. It's a self-selected group of people who specifically want that different experience.
Yes.
Let's make sure that's what we continue to give them.
That leads right into arena teams in Burning Crusade Classic. So we listen to the community and we remove that because individual rating is preferable and a better experience for them than arena teams. Also, with Wrath of the Lich King, Barbershop, which allows you to customize your character. We're going to be adding a few more options that were not existing when Wrath launched, but also there's another side of this where we are not going to charge a real money fee. It was a paid character customization fee, right?
Yeah.
It seems the right thing to do. That just
This
be
is interesting.
available
This is
in-game
I'm
for
spacing
gold,
out
and
just
we
thinking
add
about
more
stuff.
options
Sorry,
to it,
I'm not
right?
talking much,
It's
but
all about
holy
that
crap,
in a
that's
sense. There's a lot of
cool. That's
technical
cool.
advancements,
That's
and
cool.
It's not about the philosophy of what makes classic.
I kinda wanna see the
what
deep
brings people
dive.
Together. It's
We
just
might-
What's the better experience? And let's not artificially.
Yeah,
restrict
I wanna see the
something
deep
that
dive.
We can provide a better version of just for the sake of nostalgia. And we're
This
happy
is
to fit into one
interesting.
of those cases.
So, Wrath, The level cap's being increased to level 80, so we'll be introducing a level 70 boost so that players who want to get in with their friends or just explore Northrend right away will be able to do that. You can't apply it to a Death Knight, but you will be able to use it otherwise. And of course, we have Inscription, a whole new profession, so we're really excited about that. Yeah, and as we continue,
I think they were
this
just trying to
road
like touching on
we're
stuff
gonna be
here
looking
before the
to
deep
getting a
dive. The
lot
deep
more
dive is what's
feedback
really
on
going to
beta,
get
then
into
we'll
it.
make changes as we
So
need to.
that's what's really going to
Such
be
an
important.
exciting time to be playing World of Warcraft. We have the return of the Wrath of the Lich King for
Yep.
classic fans.
Dragonflight-
and taking us somewhere new
With the deep
Dragonflight.
dive,
We're so
that's where the
excited
hype
be
is going to
able bring
get
these
real because
adventures
I
to
want to know
you.
some
Don't
other
forget,
stuff.
There's a deep dive on Dragonflight where you're going to get a lot more information. Thank you so much for spending this time with us, and we'll see you in Azeroth.
And we'll see you in Northrend.
Woo!
And in the Dragon Isles.
Okay, cool. Here we go. This is the important part. This is ultimate important.
Hi there. Welcome to the Dragonflight Deep Dive. I'm Steve Denuser.
And I'm Taryn Gregory. Starting it off here, we're going to talk about the setting and the story of Dragonflight.
We've got this great expansion, exciting pre-render trailer that everyone just watched. So let's talk about the setting for Dragonflight, the Dragon Isles.
Dragon Isles have been known for a long time in Warcraft history as a mysterious place where the dragons came from long ago, but we never knew much more than that.
We're going to this place that is kind of the broodlands of all the Dragonflights, the place where they nested, where they built their civilization. The Dragon Isles was the center of the Dragon's kingdom when the world was young and the mortal races were just
Oh, so they
starting to
are
form kingdoms of their own.
taking
But
into
when
account
the
ancient
Legion
Azeroth.
invaded for that War of the Ancients, that sundering that resulted from the explosion of the Well of Eternity, broke the world.
Literal sundering of the continents of Azeroth.
And because of the breaking of the world, that magic kind of drained away and the land went dormant. So they had to leave the Dragon Isles behind. And as we saw in the pre-render, they left behind some Titan Watchers to look over the land. And when someday they hoped that elemental energy would resurge once again and draw the dragons home and reestablish their kingdom.
And that's when the message goes out to the flights and they feel it in their bones.
Now it's the time for the sky to light up with the colors of the aspects once again, and for
this is
Alex
gonna be interesting.
Straza and the others to come home. But the land has changed a lot in all these thousands of years they've been away, and some very old threats have awakened as well.
We're looking into the culture of dragons as they exist in Warcraft.
Dragons, as we know them today, were very different in the early past, the early history of Azeroth. They were much more primitive, much more savage, what we now know as proto-dragons.
And then some of the dragons were empowered to become the aspects. The green flight, red flight, blue flight, bronze flight, black flight, each with unique powers, each with the ability to protect the world in different ways. These pillars of draconic power appointed to defend Azeroth from threats within and without.
Dragons used that power both for good, in the case of most of the aspects, but also for nefarious reasons, in the case of the Black Dragonflight, led by Neltharion, who would become Deathwing.
And what we will find in Dragonflight
Well, that was because he was
is
corrupted.
that some of these ancient divisions run deep. And so it begs the question, where do we go from here? If this is an opportunity to reclaim their legacy, to be the protectors, as the cinematic mentioned, that they once were.
To do that, they're going to need the help of our heroes, our players, to come to the Dragon Isles with them and face some of these reawakening challenges, because it's not just that this land is peacefully waiting for the dragons to return and reclaim it. There's those old enemies that have awakened as well.
Yeah.
One of those being a race of kind of elemental half-giants, the Jarden.
The Dragon Isles isn't just populated by dragons or just by the
They
Jarden.
kinda look like
There's
trolls.
also many other occupants here in the Dragon Isles that have been here either just recently or for a while, including a fan favorite coming back, the Tuskar.
That's going to be awesome. We've got other cultures there as
interesting.
well in the Dragon Isles. We're going to find out about
That's
a
interesting.
civilization of centaurs that predates the ones that arose on Kalimdor much later.
And some of our favorite characters that we've seen over the last few expansions, such as Rathian.
And whether he's ready to step up into a leadership role, or if there are other alternatives out there that would be better suited to the job of being the aspect of the Black Dragonfly.
I think one thing the
Rathian-
players are gonna be
Rathian was
really
cool,
excited
like,
about this expansion
absolutely cool.
is the new playable race, the Drakthir.
That's right.
And this is something that Neltharion, before he was Deathwing, before he went full crazy world dragon, that he put into motion.
Neltharion saw those primalists that were kind of breaking away from the aspects and what they wanted. And so, in those first experiments, he took the essence of dragons, their strength, their nobility, their wisdom, and he combined it with that scrappiness, that adaptability that the mortal races had. And he wanted to use that to create the ideal soldier in his mind, the Drakthir. Exploration is really one of the key themes of this
So
expansion.
that explains
We're
how
gonna
we
be
are
going to
can
this
make a
ancient
track
place
there.
that the dragons left behind long ago. So we've made these huge zones with all kinds of places to delve into and find little treasures and little secrets tucked away. It's gonna be a lot of fun for players to be exploring these landscapes.
And there's so much architectural history and how clearly aspirational was the kingdom of the dragons and how it lost so much. And the themes of trying to return to that, to try to find your legacy, to try to figure out who you were before everything went awry. But there's questions, thematic questions of what does it mean to be true to your legacy? Are we going to repeat the mistakes of the past?
The dragons have had to learn those lessons just like the mortal kingdoms have had to. And I think that's one of the reasons why the dragons see this now as the time that they have to return and they have to step up once again as protectors of Azeroth. We're helping the dragons because the dragons have helped us in the past too. So by using the Explorers League and the Reliquary together, that allows us to delve into some of that history.
And when I look upon the Dragon Isles in all of its visual splendor, I get so excited for the prospect of a truly Azerothian adventure alongside Calicos, along with Rathian, Ebonhorn, with Ysera's daughter Marithra, as each one of them is trying to find their own flight. I am taken by the exploration and the potential for adventure and just new horizons within this world.
There's going to be old stories from that time past, that history that only the dragons knew for the longest time. We're going to be able to explore that.
It really feels like just a breath of fresh air.
So now we're going to turn things over to some of our colleagues who will take you on that deep dive into the locations and the features of Dragonflight.
Okay, here we go. Features and locations.
Hello, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Josh.
I'm Jackie.
And I'm Gary.
And we're part of the teams that are building the first two zones that you'll encounter in the Dragon Isles, the Waking Shore and the Onaran Plains.
That's gorgeous.
The very first zone
it's so
in
gorgeous.
Dragonflight you're going to come to is the Waking Shores. It's wild, untamed land. It's waking up around you too, and the elements are just going crazy.
The art team again has hit it out of the park.
You'll see like a lava mountain flowing in through the beach, giant proto-dragons swooping down, gobbling up members of your expedition.
We have such rife opportunities to show elementals rising up because of the crazy magic that's flying around.
The one of the things I love is just how you get to the Dragon Isles, right? So you're gonna get on your boat in Stormwind or Orgrimmar, and the first thing you do is sail between like the dragon ruin architectures. The boats come right alongside each other. You can jump from one boat to the other and just start causing havoc on the other faction's boat.
For those who love PvP, this is a great opportunity for war mode.
It's free for all out there. It's gonna be great. But it's okay.
That's
There's
interesting.
an innkeeper on the beach, so that if you're in that situation and you don't want to be in war mode anymore, you can just hop out right there.
The Reliquary
That's
and the
interesting.
Explorers League are working
That's
together.
interesting.
The Horde and Alliance are sending an expedition together. It's not the military, it's not the soldiers. This is the scientists, the settlers, exploring this new land. So it's a lot more optimistic tone.
One of my favorite things about the Waking Shores is the Red Dragonflight, led by Queen Alexstrasza, the Lifebinder. They have the mandate of nurturing
I will
and
not
protecting
swim.
all life,
Simp.
which means
My
Horde and
queen.
Alliance, Gorloks, trolls, everybody. So they take that duty seriously.
She is like the
Horde and
embodiment of that
Alliance
meme,
come to the Waking
100%.
Shores, they want to be there to help guide the people through the new land and
Okay.
welcome them. But they're not the only one in the Waking Shores.
We have the ancestral home of the Black Dragonflight there too,
Oh.
which has fallen on tough times since Deathwing's descent. And so Rathian's coming over to the Isles with us, and he's gonna try and come to terms with the state of the Dragonflight, which is a few loyal Draconids and Dragon Spawn trying to hold their ground. What can the future of the Dragonflight be if it's just Rathian? Because it's not just the dragons that are coming back to the Dragon Isles, but also their longtime rival, the Jarden.
I love the Jardins so much. They're half giants that wield the power of magma.
They're kinda
and
cool.
When the Waking Shores and the Dragon Isles went
They're
to
kinda
slumber,
cool.
they also slumbered. They're back now, and they are ready to raise chaos.
Yeah, they're massive. They're riding giant lava mammoths, parading around, just stomping on your face.
And they were the enemies of the dragonfly for so long. They fought against the red dragonfly, hunted dragons down, and they're really taking this opportunity to rise up. As the red dragonfly have the mandate of nurturing life, they don't want to just stomp out the Jarden completely, but they want to make sure that they don't have the power to affect those around them negatively, to make sure they don't go on a rampage and destroy the ecosystem that has been created here.
And so those are awesome things in the Waking Shore, but Steph, there really is only one right answer for the best thing in Waking Shores, right?
What?
This is true. Ducks.
We finally have those webbed feet hooligans in our game. We cracked the technology.
They
We've
can
got them
figure
in.
it out. They
Yep.
can fly.
You should be proud. Thank you.
It's going to be awesome.
The Onaran Plains come right after the Waking Shores. It's so breathtaking at first glance.
The Onaran Plains are big, wide open plains. And
So
the
kind of
player is
reminiscent
going to
of
be
Negron.
constricted a little bit, and then you see this big contrast of a zone. We don't always get that opportunity, that cinematic moment where the player can have a framed view when they see this area.
Come out and you got that postcard shot
love
of the
that.
plains. And then you see this giant fire proto-dragon breathing fire and a herd of centaur like harpoon down the proto-dragon and crash into the ground.
See, I thought
And the
there was
first
gonna
thing
be
you
a
get to
time
do is
skip
go help them kill the proto-dragon. Like, how
after
cool is that?
Shadowlands.
Who is Onara?
Onara is the wild god of the wind. And she's appeared before as like this big spirit eagle. She's the one who guided the centaur to the Dragon Isles many, many years ago. She blessed them, took their caravan across, and then showed them the plains.
How fun at the beginning of this expansion was exploring the culture of the centaur.
The centaur are these mighty, awesome hunters that back
They-
when they first
they
came
updated
to
their
the Dragon
models,
Isles, they fought the
100%.
green dragons all day long. Eventually, they realized that we're strong, you're strong. Maybe we should stop decimating each other's people. We'll make peace. We'll make an agreement. You guys hang out in the groves, and the centaur will hang out in the plains. But now the dragons have been gone for 10,000 years, and the centaur have come so far since then. And they've been here, and they've been existing and developing their culture. They all came over as one clan led by the mighty Maruk and Tira, and they founded a new life here. So if you want to get across, you have to follow their rules and their traditions. You have to earn their trust. You are the first outsiders to come in generations upon generations. The centaur might rule the open plains, but the green
Interesting.
dragons make their home in the groves. And those groves are absolutely gorgeous.
Wow.
And how great a
That
job
is
it
gorgeous
that we
looking,
have, where I
like,
can take
honestly.
all of this beautiful artwork and build these beautiful fantasy groves, high fantasy. We want to do lots of things with an open plain, and we want to be creative with them. But we're restraining ourselves by letting the zone sing, letting the horizon tell the story. We certainly couldn't have done that in the vanilla WoW.
No, definitely not. The zones are so big and you can see so far, especially in Onaran Plains. So we talked to the engineers and we actually increased that distance.
It spurs you on to want to adventure and look through the zone and
Okay,
explore everything.
so
The interesting thing for me is we have all these conflicts with the dragonflights. There's missing dragons, there's battles, there's so much crazy stuff happening, but that's not
There's
really
5
all we're
zones.
doing. There's so much extra fun activities for people to do. And the greatest thing is that you need to figure out exactly what's going on and help solve all the problems that are just sprouting up everywhere.
We're just really excited to tell a story that's grounded in Azeroth and exploration. There's so much more to talk about.
I
So
mean,
now we're gonna have
could be
some
the
folks
step in the
talking
right
about
direction.
The next 2 zones that players are going to experience in the Dragon Isles.
it could be a step in the right direction. It could be. I still haven't heard about
Hello,
anything with the
everyone. My name
revamped
is Kate.
zones.
I'm Christy. I'm Kate.
I'm Sean. We're going to talk today about Valdrassus and the Azure Span. So Azure Span is going to be the 3rd zone that players adventure through, and it's one of our biggest zones that we've done in the Dragonflight, maybe even to date.
We knew it was going to be like the largest visual elevation change, and it really started with this great concept art. When we first were taking a look at the design, we kept coming back to one of our favorite Wrath zones, which was Grizzly Hills. And we really wanted to take that, but wowify it more. And I don't know if you've ever been up to the Bay Area, but in the morning, that coastal fog comes in and dips down into the redwoods and that sun shines through. That's really what we wanted to encapsulate with this forest. And not only we have redwoods, but we've got all different types of trees. Eventually, it'll break open into this wide open tundra that's just golden and red, and you'll reach up to
So it's kind of
another
reminiscent
level
of
of elevation where you get to see the snow. The majority of the zone is
Northrend,
covered in
essentially.
snow and ice. We have giant frozen waterfalls. ice rivers as far as the eye can
Hey,
see.
the Tuskar!
Sean, I know in the forest we can expect our first creatures.
We have a small group that lives there called the Gnolls. These gnolls are all throughout the forest in Azure Span. They've made this their home. Some gnolls with strange magic. that
Oh,
we're gonna
wow,
find
they
out
actually
what exactly
upped
that's
the
about.
gnoll look.
Snow gnolls, or as I call them, the snolls, up in the winter area, and then some regular gnolls that are just going to be around the forest area. So then we go into the big open tundra.
Kind of dig
where
the
we
gnoll look.
meet
That's
our
kind
second
of cool.
group, the Tuskar.
That's
It's
absolutely
going to be
gonna
really
look
neat
good.
to
Tuskar.
explore their culture a lot more.
And those kids are adorable. I absolutely love the Tuskar. Honestly, all my downtime's probably just me hanging out with the Tuskar.
So it's been a little while since we've seen them. We remember the Tuskar from Wrath of the Lich King. They're also getting a nice, cool upres for their models.
Yep.
Along
See
with
that?
expanding their culture. So there are going to be male Tuskar, female Tuskar, Tuskar kids. So we're going to fight alongside them, which includes help from a certain group of dragons, the blue dragons. We're going to follow the story of Kalagos.
Wow,
our
they
blue
upped
dragon
his
buddy
model.
From the Kirin Tor.
Like,
and he's going to be adventuring
completely upped
into
his model.
Syndragos' archives. It's a giant zone. There's a lot of surprises. When we're done there, we head over to Aldraz's.
Aldraz's.
It's really incredible because you will be going through some of the previous zones and seeing a lot of ruins for the dragon buildings. But when you get to Thaldrazis, everything is perfectly intact. It's beautiful. It's pristine. It is the seat of power for all 5 dragon flights.
Okay, so it's
and
like the
home of the dragons. It feels that way with the huge
So it's like
vertical
Dragonflight.
mountains.
Dragonblight.
We've got these
Dragonblight.
great cave systems where you may
Where
end up
they
fighting
all
little dragon
were
hordes.
at.
My favorite
Kind
Dragonflight
of.
right now is the Bronze. They've got a really cool area in Thaldrazis, and their magic is time. There's so many cool story hooks that we could dig into there. There's so many cool gameplay options. And we have a little bit of an adventure for players. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I can't wait. We really wanted it to feel like their old stomping grounds. One of the really cool features is going to be the main city and player hub for this expansion, Valdraken. It is a culmination of all of the dragon's efforts to put together what a city would look like. So we ended up having a bunch of really fun small vignettes where you see that the blue dragonflight is hosting a public library, and the red and green dragonflights both have their own separate gardens. We'll also have some convenience services for players, including an auction house in the city, which
Okay,
will be
cool.
really nice if you're looking for more exotic wares. The thing that really sold me on Thaldrazis was the initial concept art we got of Tierhold.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. And this is a 10,000-year-old Titan technological marvel. Tierhold has these awesome aqueducts that actually come out from the structure all the way to the city across the valley. And in the cinematic, there's just this amazing shot where you see Alexstrasza swoop under one of them, and there's splashes of water
That was
resting
cool.
across her wings.
That's cool.
So when players are flying around themselves, they get to have their Alexstrasza moment. What an incredible place, and filled with so much history.
Tierhold was built by Tyr. He was a Titan Keeper back in the day who helped the Aspects fight Galakrond. And when they settled on the Dragon Isles, he built this facility. And even though Tyr's gone, the dragons have held him in reverence. But that was 10,000 years ago, and they've let the Titans maintain the place. An incredible amount of history has happened since then. Flights have been nearly wiped out. There have been invasions, betrayals. Aspects have died. And these are the kind of things that leave marks on a society. So now they're all back here, and they're all here together.
As we were designing the zone and the city itself, we're trying to figure out, how do we tell those stories at the same time as making sure that this is a really convenient place for players to go and, go shopping, as they tend to do. So much adventuring happening on the Dragon Isles.
It's so cool.
Okay, that's
As a player,
interesting.
you probably don't have your own dragon wings. You are going to learn the art of dragon riding.
It's so vertical, and I'm just excited to dive off the tops of towers and swoop under things.
It's actually one of the things that we're about to learn about next.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Jake. I'm Andy.
I'm Kali.
And I'm Graham.
Interesting
and I'm really
approach.
excited to talk to you guys today about
They
the
had to do
Director
something.
Evoker, our new race and class coming in Dragonflight.
We're here to talk about not only the Evoker, but also dragon riding, which is our exciting expression into the exploration of the Dragon Isles.
We knew with a dragon-themed expansion, we wanted to let you play a dragon. Not a big dragon, Alexstrasza size. That'd be tough to fit into raids. I'm sorry, Jake.
Okay.
I know.
It's fine.
But a draconic humanoid. So the Drakthir, created by Neltharion.
And like our other hero classes, you get to choose if you want to start on the Horde or Alliance side on character creation.
So let's talk a little bit about the Evoker, the class they can be. What's unique about it is because the Dracthyr are created by an aspect, they have the ability to wield the magic of all 5 dragon flights. So evokers can take advantage of red magic and blue magic and bronze magic.
And to show that, we created a visual, what we call a prismatic effect. This prismatic effect is basically the coalescence of all their energy as they channel it into whatever spell that they're going to cast. You have a red magic spell called Pyre. So when you shoot it out of your mouth, it twirls in the air with all 5 of the Dragonflight's magic as it turns into the red spell before landing on your enemies and exploding and hopefully burning them.
I'll take that one.
Getting that vibe across that they use all 5 was really important to us, but we did want to make sure that each specialization focused on 2, because casting 5 different colors gets a bit messy. So their damage dealer specialization, their first of 2, devastation.
It's almost like they're trying to go back to the
focuses on
beginning.
Red and blue magic.
So, like,
Red
begin
being very
again.
fast and
Begin, new
explosive,
again.
burning everything with pyre. Whereas blue is more focused and overwhelming. You can shoot a beam of energy out of your mouth to disintegrate one single enemy in front of you.
There's a healer spec called Preservation. The healer spec is going to focus mostly on your green and your bronze magic. So your green is going to be evocative of the Emerald Dream, your growth and your nurturing spells.
Okay.
And then you have your bronze magic, which is going to be more timey-wimey. So you get to heal a wound faster.
So in addition to the visuals and the animation, which all make you feel very powerful, we really wanted the player to have a physical connection to the character.
That is awesome,
We have
though.
a new type of spell called Empower, where when you actually hold down the button on your keyboard, it charges up the spell. The longer you charge it up, it might do more damage, more targets, depending on the spell. But it gives you this really physical.
That
connection
is
and control.
ambitious.
And it's new for World of Warcraft, and I think is feeling really, really good.
We have some great
That is very
animations. Thank
ambitious.
you, Andy. Your
You
team.
love it, Andy.
You feel physical when you're casting your spells.
You can actually fly around the battlefield and cast while you're flying.
Raining fire and death from above. It's great.
In addition to the gameplay, though,
Okay,
feeling
it's
draconic
kinda
is
cool.
Looking like a dragon.
Well, we talk about dragons breathing fire, but you know what's actually fire?
What's actually
These
fire?
customizations.
Oh my goodness.
But no, they're really, really
They're
cool.
awesome.
Because you have both your draconic form and your humanoid form. And the customization options for both of them are amazing.
They're very good.
What about color? Just tell me you
tell
can
us about the
change
colors.
color.
You can do a lot of matching. So your visage form can have scales that are the same color as your Dracthyr form.
But my favorite, super favorite part of customization for the visage form, hair.
Yeah.
Because I can actually do this in game.
Yeah.
The tech is here.
We finally did it.
As players
That's cool.
make their way through each of the areas of the Dragon Isles, they'll partner up with the Dragonflights to move through the air as they've never done before. You'll notice I did not say flying, because flight has a very specific meaning for World of Warcraft.
Yeah, it does.
And we're talking about something new called dragon riding.
And as the players are honing their dragon riding skills, they're going to get to see all new animations that go along.
So
with the
this is
different
World
look
of
and
Warcraft's
feel
How to
of the
Train Your
drakes.
Dragon.
We're aiming to shake up movement
Got it.
with this new system,
Got it.
providing players with a deeper immersion with forces like momentum and gravity.
We knew that for Dragonflight, we were going to have the opportunity to show players
They
a
are
whole
being
new
ambitious,
set
though,
of
with
Dragon Isle
it.
Drakes, completely unique from all the other things they've seen in World of Warcraft. And so we wanted to come up with a movement system that would add that sense of physics, weight, and gravity, like you were mentioning. We knew it was going to take a huge team effort, not just animation, but it was going to take effects. It was going to take the engineering team, who we rely on heavily. And that combined with some new animations really helps to lend that feeling of physics as you move through the air in ways that you haven't before. And the icing on the cake is going to be some really cool effects that we've added on top of all of that. So for example, when you start hitting maximum velocity, you're going to see contrails coming off the edges of the wings. And then as you do your rolls and spirals, you build up more and more speed. There's going to be some screen effects on the display to indicate that you're reaching maximum velocity, which really adds to the overall kind of immersion and sense of reality.
Okay, so
As players make their way through the Dragon
That's
Isles,
kinda
they'll
cool.
discover new cosmetic options to fine-tune their Dragon Isle
This
Drake's
is really
appearances.
cool. Honestly, this is
Things like snoots, horns, tails, elusive Dragon Isle Drake armor, and more.
Can I have spikes?
Definitely.
Okay.
We want to provide players with all new skills to play with.
That's kinda
as
cool,
those
like,
who
honestly.
use their momentum well can reach higher and higher heights and bring on new, more difficult challenges.
We just have so many new gorgeous options to choose from, and I'm just so excited for all of them.
I'm excited for the whole thing. I mean, it's been a lot of fun to work on, but I can't wait to actually get
doing
in
something
game,
like this
play it
kind
with
of
you
feels
guys.
like
I
that
can't
they're
wait-
kind of
I
getting
can't wait to
ready
fly around Dragon Isles. This
for
is great.
like
Next
maybe
up,
controller
we're going to hear
support.
about the talent revamp and the UI changes coming in Dragonflight.
That really kind of feels like this like
Hello, my name is Brian.
I'm Crash.
I'm Jay.
And I'm Laura. We are very excited to share we are finally revamping the WoW HUD UI.
And it is also time for a major revamp to talents and specializations.
I have a big question for the group. How long do you think it took for us to finally revamp the WoW HUD?
My guess is like 15 years.
Close, 18 years.
18 years.
18 years.
Wow.
You know,
Crash.
technology
That's
has
an
changed
awesome
a lot
name.
since we made the UI back in 2004. Now you have like bigger monitors, and we have better dev tools to work with, so it makes sense to have the revamp right now. Also, if you look at the game today, the art evolved beautifully over the years. And
I'm just gonna say
if
it.
you
Her
look at
accent
the
is
HUD,
awesome.
the
Her
HUD looks
accent
like
is
got
absolutely
frozen
good,
time.
amazing. I love
So
that
when we
accent.
approached this, we wanted to create a layout experience that players could customize, move things around, adjust it to fit their needs.
Add-ons today, they do a lot for player customization.
The downside is that not everybody uses them. It's about time that everybody has the opportunity to use them, that they become a part of the base UI.
Yeah, and we are working very closely with our user research team to make sure we are hitting the goals that our player needs.
It allowed us to add new functionality, to improve accessibility in a lot of areas, and on top of that, we are going to be improving the art.
Yeah, so the art update, it's a big part of this project. The UI that we have today has a lot of charm and personality, and players have been using that for 18 years. So with that in mind, we want to respect the players who really like the current UI, but do a more than take to it, removing the clutter and giving more visibility for your gameplay. So the new minimap, it looks bigger, and the health bar is also much bigger. If you look at the action bars and the bottom menus, they have less head frames, and you can really open up your gameplay.
That's nice.
So you don't have a lot
That's
of your UI in front of you.
really
and of
nice.
course, we want to find iconic pieces from the current HUD, but we want to bring it back in a nice way. So we for sure updating the Griffins. They look so nice now. And the Horde, don't worry, we got you. You're going to have your version as well. So
Oh,
let's
that's
talk about
cool. That's
We
kind of
are
cool.
putting a mode in that will let players move various HUD elements around on the screen.
So I'm able to move the mini-map, say, from the right corner all the way over to the left corner. If I want to bring my action bars from the bottom and kind of put them more in the center by my character, those are all things that I'll be able to do?
Absolutely. And each of those different components
Finally!
will have various sets of options that you'll be able to work
Finally!
with. They'll be
They're
able
doing
to
that.
save
Finally!
it, edit it, copy it, name it. Also, it'll remember which spec you're in. So if you're someone who jumps around a lot, as you switch, it will switch to whatever HUD layout you have for that spec.
This
That's
is an
cool.
ongoing project. We're going to keep working
That's
on
a
it.
lot like
So
FF14.
we really want to hear back
honestly.
from you.
A project that we're all excited about that we've been collaborating a lot on is something that's pretty UI intensive, and that's the talent system.
It hadn't changed in a long time, like you said before, and we really started with how can we have players have more choice over what their character has?
As you level up, we give you a new spell or a new ability, something that kind of makes you stronger, but it's determined by the designers. We decide the order.
Yeah, we started looking for a system that would give players a much wider set of options.
And after looking at all those things, what we really returned back to was the idea of trees. But it's actually two trees. We have a class tree that offer different class utility, and then we have a spec tree that is focused on performing your role, whether that's damage,
that
tank,
is
or healing.
good.
Can I
I'm
just
so
jump in
happy.
and say that I personally am super excited about having trees come back. There's a big nostalgia hit for me.
As we said, we have these two trees because we feel like picking a specialization is a really important part of your World of Warcraft character now. And so we want to make sure that when you choose that, it kind of affects the tree in some
That is
way.
cool.
Yeah,
that
as
is
soon as you
cool.
open your talent tree, you'll see something new. The class side will have some abilities filled out for free, just kind of starting you off in that spec you've chosen, but then you'll have your first point to spend in the class tree, which could be something related to that spec or role, or it could be something from elsewhere in the class.
There's a lot of things that we can do here, and part of that is encouraging players to perhaps make combinations that they've never really been able to see in the game before. This is an opportunity to put a lot more art and fantasy in the actual talent
That
UI
is so
itself.
freaking
You
cool.
have seen that a lot through most recent expansions, but not the base UI.
We want you to be able to tinker with it. You know, we want you to be able
This
to
is one of
make
the
a
things
lot
that
of
I really
changes at a
did
lot of
miss
times
about
and
the
not
game was the
necessarily
talent tree.
have to commit.
Like, absolutely.
The power really is coming back to the player. It's not something we want people to feel locked into, and so one of the things that we'll be preserving is the ability to change these talents at the same kind of frequency that you do now.
Yeah, the old school players, when you see trees this time, just think, yeah, I'll go from my raid night to my arena match and figure out what I think is the best for both of those.
And that's a process we want to make really fluid. So we're building a save load feature
That-
that lets
oh,
you
that-
create your build, name it, save it,
that
and then
is
load
so
it up very quickly and freely.
Talents were really about the breadth of options. We've made all these
That is
different cool
cool.
things over the years, but when are they at their coolest? It's when players can hold the building blocks of what can make up their class, their spec, and put them together in a way that works for them.
So these are really cool features that we've been working long and hard on, and we're very excited about them. And it's just an early preview of the things we've been doing. We can't wait to see the reaction that you have to them, and please reach out to us.
I kind of want to get in the alpha.
And next up, we're going to talk about professions in Dragonflight.
Please say that there is a new profession.
Hi, I'm Joanna.
And I'm Eric, and we're going to talk about our plans for professions in Dragonflight. Professions have been a staple of World of Warcraft forever, and they've seen lots of really cool incremental updates over their life. But for Dragonflight, we want to do something a bit different. We really want to rethink professions and figure out how to make them part of your identity as a player, if that's what you want.
We really want to make sure that professions feel fun and relevant across all levels of gameplay.
That brings us to our first update, something that
Okay.
we're calling crafting orders.
Yes,
if you want to
that
have something
is cool.
crafted for you, but you don't have
That
the
is
skill or
cool.
the right profession to do it for yourself, you can have it crafted through a crafting order. You can basically browse any of the recipes that can be crafted, pick the one you want for yourself, and then you include some or all of the reagents needed for the recipe, including ones that only you can get your hands on. You can find someone in
That is
person
pretty
to do it
cool.
right
That
in front
is-
of you for you. Or you can also go to an NPC and using an auction house-like interface, send the order out. If you're doing this, you can pick, do you want to send the order to anyone, sort of a public order, or do you want to only send it to your guild, or to a specific other player? Maybe it's a friend who you know will be able to craft the item really well for you.
If you are really dedicated to your craft, you're going to be the best at what you do.
One of the coolest things about this is the item you
So
had
I wonder if,
crafted
like, when you're
can also be
offline, if you'll get a
soulbound.
notification
In the
when you come
past,
back.
you could only get your hands on crafted soulbound items by having that profession yourself. Now anyone can have them crafted for them, which is really neat and really expands the number of items that we can provide that are really powerful because everyone can have them crafted through the crafting order system.
This is also really cool because it means as a crafter, you can start building your client base. People are going to come back to you to get certain items. Maybe you're the best at making it, or you always throw in a little something extra. You're also going to be leveling up your profession. It's going to be really great.
So the first time you go to craft, you're gonna notice a lot of different things, but probably the biggest is the introduction of quality, both to your crafted items and your gathered reagents. Quality works in a pretty simple way. If you craft something that's a higher quality, it's just gonna be better. For a piece of gear, that probably means a higher item level. If it's, for instance, a potion, that might mean a more powerful effect at a higher quality.
That's kind of
And
cool.
We're doing a lot of new things in the UI. We've put a lot of work into it to make sure that the professions feel really special and unique.
And another thing you might notice in the crafting UI that's new is the introduction of stats, specifically to your professions, both crafting and gathering. And this is another sort of major input into quality. Probably the biggest
So I don't
source
think that they're
of your
doing a new
ability to craft
profession
items at a
until
higher
because now
quality
because they're
is
working on
through
this, they're not
crafting
doing a new one yet.
specializations. We've had crafting specializations in the past, as far back as original World of Warcraft. With Dragonflight, you can go out and earn specialization points in a whole bunch of different ways. So maybe you find an old book on a bookshelf in a ruin somewhere, or a hermit in a cave who can teach you a little bit about your profession. So let's say you're a blacksmith, you might decide that first you want to become an armor smith. And the more points you spend in armor smithing, the better you're going to get at crafting all armor.
This also means that if you specialize one way, other people in your guild may specialize in a completely different path. So this means that your guild could have several top blacksmiths and everybody is providing something unique and valuable to the team, which
Okay,
is
that's
really
cool.
cool.
Now that reminds me of another update. We're actually adding crafting tables to all the different crafting professions. We're gonna take those and we're gonna put them all in the main city of Valdrakken. And you're gonna go in there and you're gonna get to see all the different players crafting their items at their cool crafting tables.
Yeah, it means you're gonna walk into the city and you're gonna see like all these alchemists huddled over here, and you're gonna see all these blacksmiths over by the forge. There will be other players filling orders or grabbing orders.
I could
and
just
you'll be in
see
the
like
crafting
some
area that's gonna make you feel
because
really
playing on
part of
RP
the
servers, I know
just
that that's going to be
seems
an
like a much more
interesting
lively
thing
area
for
than
that.
it has in the past.
What I'm most excited about, though,
That's going to be
We're
interesting.
introducing new types of gear for every profession.
Ooh.
And when you go
Yeah, that's
to, say, mine and node, you're actually
Very
going to switch
much
into that gear. It's
reminiscent
gonna be
of
really great.
another game.
You're not gonna have to carry that
Final
stuff
Fantasy
around in your
14. That's
backpack
very
anymore.
Final Fantasy
It's actually
14.
gonna be dedicated slots for each of your pieces of gear. But
That's cool.
I'm a numbers guy. I love progressing. All pieces of profession gear will have those special stats that we mentioned before on them. And as you get your hands on better versions of the gear, it's really going to help you get better at your profession.
I can't wait.
Thank you for tuning in.
That's
to the
actually going
Dragonflight
to
Deep Dive.
You've heard a
bring
lot
something
about
into
the
actually
content and changes coming in Dragonflight,
So,
and we've got a lot more in store for you in the
professions
coming
and all that
months.
stuff.
Until then, we'll see you in Azeroth.
So, okay, so yeah, that's interesting. That's absolutely interesting. Oh man. So I mean a lot to go over. Okay, so first off, I'm just gonna say this. Like the evoker class and the evoker the dragon being tied to the dragon race, that's really ambitious because a lot of people because like just one class, two specs, one race. Like that's what you get, you have that. That's kind of cool. It's pretty cool, honestly. Then you have the other aspect of no pun intended, like the cleaner UIs, the profession UI. I was kind of hoping for a new profession, and that they would go in depth with some other stuff. Now I know this is just a reveal, and with the alpha coming, that they're probably going to be releasing more stuff later on. But they kind of want to try to get something out there just to kind of like say, hey, here's this, just kind of let you know what's going on here. They didn't do a release date with it, because of the fact of that it hasn't even gone into it's not in alpha yet or out for alpha for that. But absolutely, this is interesting. I'm curious to see where it kind of goes and what happens with it. I am going to check out the website really quick while I'm here, and see what they have going on for that. And kind of there's a lot to take in, and there's a lot to take into account with everything. The cinematic looked awesome. It's kind of curious to go see what the Dragon Isles are going to be. I really hope that they don't do the same thing where it's like we don't have the same like. I always feel that I'm not who they say that I am when I'm playing the game, meaning that they put the NPCs on a higher pedestal than us, even though we're the ones that are taking care of the issues. And it feels a lot of the times like the NPCs themselves get the credit for what we do. And I really hope that they don't do that. I hope that that going forward they don't do that. I think it's really cool and interesting with the dragon riding, where you can customize your dragon and all that stuff. I feel that's really awesome. But yeah, this is. I mean, it's shaping up to be an interesting. It's shaping up to be interesting, to say the least. And yeah, once we know more about everything, I feel that's when we will kind of have an idea of that's when we have an idea of what's coming, what's more coming, because they gave a lot out to saying, we have 5 new zones, you have one of which is a starter zone, and I believe that's what they said. But then you have other aspects of like, hey, they did not mention like if we're going to choose a faction, to kind of not a faction but an aspect, like a dragon flight. That's what I'm trying to say. Like to kind of go with or anything like that. Kind of like what they did with the Covenants. And since they didn't mention that, I feel that we won't have that. So I feel that the aspects and the dragon flights themselves will, in and of itself, just be factions or um, reputations that we can get from and all that stuff. So that's cool. That's cool. And the fact that, they brought back the talent tree, that is huge to me. Like I like to have the feeling of my own. I just want to feel like I have control over what power I gain. And to have that being brought back is amazing. But yeah, like I I'm kind of here for it. Like I really am. I feel like that's uh just so much. I want to see what else is going to come out. I do want to see if I can try to get into the alpha. I love this game. I always have. It holds a place in my heart. I want it. I want it to succeed. Like I don't want to. I don't want games to not succeed if they have the heart. If they had once had the heart or whatever. And I'm hoping. I'm not hyped up yet. I feeling a tinge of it, but not completely hyped. I'm hoping that they kind of go forward, and this is the launching pad of us getting them starting over again. So, but with that being said, tell me what you think in the comments below. This is a long video because there was a lot. I'd watched the thing in the entirety. So yeah. Until next time, I am Dr. Plague, and let me know what you're excited about, hyped up for, or whatnot. And hopefully, I can do more of these videos in the future, talking about exactly what's coming out with this game. So, until next time, peace.